Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to today's video. I decided I was going to sit in the playroom today and do our video and thought I was cute and added mom life on my magnet board. But anyways, let's just jump right into this video. I'm kind of going to be touching base in a few different categories for you guys today. One of the categories is how did we get to this point? How did we get pregnant this cycle? And what have we been doing to, to kind of get ready for becoming pregnant? Number two is going to be kind of when we got pregnant, how things were going. Did the pregnancy seem any different? And three, the whole topic of the chemical pregnancy, miscarriage, and whatnot. How it went about finding out that we were losing the pregnancy, and kind of how things have been going during this whole time. I am filming this video. It is the 18th, 19th of December. So we are going through currently the loss of our pregnancy. So I'm going to kind of just be touching base on that. And also then I guess the last thing would be, what are we going to do moving forward? So stay tuned if you are interested in learning a little bit more about our personal journey with our chemical pregnancy miscarriage loss. Guys, so I guess I feel it's so frustrating to feel that you have to explain yourself before you start talking about something personal, because it should just be exactly that, your own personal journey and feelings and thoughts. But I'm gonna just put it out there as a disclaimer that this is my personal journey and these are my thoughts, and though they may be different than yours, I just hope that you respect how I feel and how my family is dealing with this process right now. And all these signs, symptoms, and how we got here can be different for every pregnant person. So what we did to get pregnant or how we're going about getting pregnant is going to be different for everybody. So just keep that in mind. So with that being said, if you guys have not watched video 1 and 2 of our TTC journey, I will link them below for you guys to go check out. But basically, long story short, my husband and I are trying for baby number 2. And we had our IUD removed on October 21st, 2019. And like I said, it is currently December 19th when I'm filming this. And so how we got here is, once we had our IUD removed, my husband and I knew that we would start tracking ovulation right away to see, more or less, to see if my body was getting in some type of rhythm or was even ovulating, because you'll need to do your own research, but the body can respond very different ways when you stop birth control, and it can definitely be different for different types of birth control. So for an IUD, with the research I've done and from what my medical professional told me, was that it could take up to 3 months to get a period. It could take up to 3 months to even ovulate. You can still get a period without ovulating. And it can take up to a year without, before you ovulate or get a period. And so it is so different for everybody. But luckily for us, we were so lucky to basically go right back to my same cycle. And I say same cycle, but not exactly, but basically about the same amount of days, and kind of the same type of flow type thing. But basically, I had, after a couple of days after having my IUD removed, I did experience a small period. And in my other videos, I kind of talk about the ovulation tracking and the testing strips that I used, and when I ovulated in the prior months. But in regards to this video, I'm just going to kind of be talking about specifically the period and ovulation that led to our current pregnancy that we're losing. and that was in November. So the week before Thanksgiving is when we would have conceived our baby, and we found out, let's see, a little bit more than a week ago, a little less than a week ago, yeah. All right, sorry guys, the oil guy came and interrupted the whole video, so I had to go back and just watch what I had started recording so that I could pick up where I left off. So pick up where I left off was, because my husband and I know when we ovulated, I kind of knew when I could start testing. And some people are lucky enough to get a positive pregnancy test at 5 DPO. DPO is days past ovulation. And so for me, I did not get a positive on day 5. So I waited a couple of days. That's usually what they recommend. If you get a negative pregnancy test, usually wait a day, test again. And so I tested on day 5 and then day 7. Day 7 is what gave me a faint positive reading. Now, a faint positive reading is normal when you're really early in the process of pregnancy, because a pregnancy test will pick up what is known as the HCG hormone, and that hormone doesn't start secreting until the pregnancy has attached to the uterine lining. And so it was normal that it was a faint line. And so I thought, okay, I'll test again in a couple of days. The line will get a little bit darker and things will be on the up and up. Well, unfortunately, that's not what happened. Unfortunately, a couple days later, 2 days later, I was gonna test, but I woke up that morning feeling off, and off in a different way than feeling off because I'm pregnant. But I felt that there was a switch on the inside of my body that just went off. And when before I got the positive pregnancy test, I had the classic couple normal pre-pregnancy, like, finding out symptoms. And one that was unbelievably sore breasts and nipples. Like, guys, I would just barely, like, rub against them and they would hurt, or Rory would come and run into me and they would just hurt. And that was actually the first thing I noticed, is Rory had come in and like jumped on me, and I was bracing myself for the pain and there was nothing. And I thought to myself, that's weird. This has been a rough symptom for the past couple of days. I think something is off. And it's just this weird instinct that if you haven't gone through something like this or haven't been pregnant before, it's kind of hard to grasp how you would know something is wrong or something is up, but you just know. And so I tested, and sure enough, it was a negative pregnancy test. So once we found out that our pregnancy was no longer there, and I say there in air quotes because I wasn't bleeding at this point. So I called my doctor's office, my OBGYN. They are the midwifery practice that I used with my son. They're also the practice that took out my IUD. And I just called them and said, hey, these are the things going on. I have a very heavy background in medicine. I went to college for a medical degree, and I've worked probably about 12 years in the medical world before I became a stay-at-home mom. And so I like to think that I have a pretty good grasp on this stuff, but it's like one of those things, you can have all this knowledge and then when it happens to you, it's almost like you're stupid and you don't remember anything. Or it's going to be different for me. I'm going to be different. And unfortunately, that's kind of how you feel. So I called my doctor's office and I said, these are the symptoms that I'm going through. I had a positive pregnancy test and now a negative one. And not bleeding yet, but you know, I really feel that my symptoms have gone away, mostly with the whole tender boobs and everything like that. And they said that I was more than welcome to go in and have some blood work done just to confirm that the pregnancy is no longer there. But I didn't feel that that was necessary at this point. again, with that medical background, I really just felt I knew in my heart what happened, and then them confirming that they were most likely, you know, they agreed that I was most likely experiencing a chemical pregnancy. And my doctor's office is a little different than some medical practices. One, they are midwives, and I think midwives and doctors, though they're, you know, they both deliver babies and all that stuff, midwifery is a little bit more gentle. It's a little bit more, I don't want to say holistic, because I am definitely not that hippie type of person at all, but they are a little bit more gentle. And so my doctor's office considers a chemical pregnancy anything before 6 weeks. And they do that because at 6 weeks is when your baby's heart starts to beat. And so I think as just a gentle thing, they say that, you know, anything before 6 weeks is a chemical pregnancy, because it is just that. It's just a ball of cells that it doesn't have a heartbeat yet. And this is really where we're going to get into heated discussions, topics, labeling here, because you know, some people believe from the minute of conception until any type of loss is considered a miscarriage. And a chemical pregnancy is a miscarriage. It's just a different slight terminology. So anyways, so my doctor's office considers it that. And then anything from 12 weeks on, they consider a miscarriage. And then, you know, later in pregnancy, it is a little bit different as well. But so I called them, told them everything was going on. I wasn't bleeding at this point, and then 4 days later I started to bleed. So my period would have, if I wasn't pregnant, my period would have happened actually the day I found out I lost the pregnancy. And then 4 days later I started having my my miscarriage. And so I guess how my period has been thus far, it's been pretty different actually. You know, I'm trying to think about it now, like in the moment, and I do believe that it is pretty different than other periods that I have experienced. One being, hi, thank you. Well, apparently Savannah's gonna join me for the video. This is my adorable rescue pup. Huh. So it is definitely different than normal, and one of it being the amount. The flow is increased by probably twice the amount. And it's to be expected. I mean, your body is creating all these hormones and everything in a safe environment for this pregnancy to grow, and then all of a sudden the pregnancy isn't there anymore, and you're gonna have symptoms that are different than your typical period. And so for me, the flow is definitely probably twice as much, and it is a thicker consistency. Now, I can tell just from having periods my whole life that I am definitely on the tail end of this period here, and it has definitely been more painful, you know, not just mentally, but, you know, physically. Ibuprofen has been my friend. With thicker period blood, you do get more cramping because you have such a small area that the blood comes out of, that when it is clumpier or thicker, it does create a little bit more, you know, inflammation and flare and everything like that. So it's normal to feel crampy and whatnot. So that's kind of how this period has been going, and, you know, how we came to find out about our chemical pregnancy. And, you know, I guess the last thing I want to touch on briefly is, you know, some people could be sitting at home thinking, how is she just talking right now about all of this? And, you know, some people would react differently, and how you react, again, is just a personal thing. Because I have been in the medical world for so long, I think of things in my brain just so scientifically that my mind is at peace and okay with what is going on. I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say I'm not somewhat sad, or bummed or disappointed or aggravated about the whole situation, because I really am. Rory's pregnancy came so easy, and I mean, I know it's only been a handful of weeks since we had our IUD out, but basically now it's like, how much longer is it going to take? Is this going to affect us, you know, whatnot in the months to come? And so Rory just came so easy, and I was just hoping that that's just how it was going to be with us this time around, and it's not. And that just goes to show you that every pregnancy is different. Every person is different, and you can't compare. You cannot compare. And, you know, that was just a real hit in the face. So we are at peace with this, and I think that we're at peace with this because my husband is also of the scientific mindset. We believe that things happen for a reason. We are both spiritual people in the non-typical sense. So we believe that what you put out there in the world, you get back, and how you treat others is how you get treated, and that things, no matter how hard or easy they are, happen for a reason. And that's why I and him are at peace with this. I have chose to think that if this pregnancy continued, that there would be something wrong with the pregnancy, something wrong with the baby, something wrong with me potentially, whether that be during the pregnancy or during delivery. And so I'm just thinking that this happened for a reason that I don't know about why, but I can respect. And it does make it easier. This experience may not be easy for somebody who is 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. I can't imagine what that's like. But being 5 weeks and a few days is different. The baby does not have a heartbeat. And I think that that is kind of what has allowed me to accept all of this, is that the baby does not have a heartbeat. And so because also my lines on my pregnancy test being so faint, that the doctor's office thinks that the attachment of the cells that would become the baby probably wasn't a full connection. So this baby probably stopped growing, or you know, had something wrong before it even became much of anything more than cells. And I know for some of you, this is the rough topic of the labeling and, you know, everything like that. But that's why this is okay for me in my mind and in my heart. But this could be hard for somebody else, and I can respect that. I can feel for that person in that way. And I'm not saying that I would feel this way at 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. I probably would be a blubbering mess, because at that point you've most likely heard a heartbeat, had an ultrasound, saw the baby, and that is different. You know, seeing, hearing, knowing you're pregnant, you get a different connection. I am way too early to have any of that. And so that's kind of how I feel and how things are going mentally for me in regards to this situation. And I guess the last topic I'm going to talk on, because I have chatted for so long, is what are we going to do to move forward? So again, if you guys have not saw videos 1 and 2, my husband and I genuinely were going to wait until January to start 100% conceiving. That was our plan all along. This was kind of just an expected surprise, I guess, in some senses. So it's not really 100% how the body reacts after an early miscarriage. Some forums and, you know, medical papers say that a early miscarriage, chemical pregnancy, does not affect your cycle, does not affect your ovulation, where others contradict that and say, we recommend you wait a month or 2 to start trying again. So Matt and I are just kind of trucking on, seeing where things take us. You know, I'm eager to be pregnant. I genuinely enjoyed my pregnancy with Rory. The first like 13 weeks I had the typical, you know, morning sickness, and was pretty tired, and I know that that's going to be hard having a toddler running around the house, but genuinely I enjoyed being pregnant. I loved my growing belly, and I felt really confident being pregnant, and I just had a lot of joy when I was pregnant. And yeah, overall getting through like the morning sickness, which really wasn't horrible for me, it was just like for 13 weeks. After that, it really just was very smooth sailing. So I'm looking forward to being pregnant again. I did overall enjoy my experience. So I know that this video is coming to you guys a little later than normal, but Matt and I felt that we needed to tell a few of the people in our life that what was going on before we posted it on YouTube. So I hope you can respect that. I hope that you found something in this video that could help you, whether it's a piece of knowledge or just knowing that you're not alone in your TTC journey. Every pregnancy is different, every person is different, and this is just my own experience. And so if I can just help one person, that would mean the world to me. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video, and I will plan to see you guys in a couple of months with our next update. Fingers crossed for good news. Bye, guys.